Do you know what the loudest sound in the world is? It's not explosions, not thunder, not the roar of machines in some worn out factory. The loudest sound is silence. It's when the phone sits there right on the table, right in front of me, and for 3 straight months it never rings. 3 months. Not a single call, not a single voice, just the screen lighting up now and then with a short, cold line. Merry Christmas, Dad. Merry Christmas, Dad. I'm 82 years old. 82. I spent 40 years of my life in a factory, standing on these very legs, trading my back, my knees, and every drop of sweat to raise 3 children. I was never a man who knew how to say I love you. I didn't know how to hug or write beautiful cards, but I knew how to work. I knew how to wake up before sunrise. I knew how to make sure my wages covered their tuition so they could go to college, wear clean shirts, and hold their heads high, never ashamed of who their father was. And what I got in return was a mass sent Christmas text. Do you know what the most humiliating thing is? It's not poverty. It's not old age. It's having to beg for attention from your own children. Sitting alone in an empty house, listening to the clock tick like it's counting down the seconds of your life, then picking up the phone, leaving a voicemail, your voice trembling like a stranger's. Call me back whenever you have time. I've done that. Not once, many times. And then one day, I realized something I should have understood much earlier. Stop. Put the phone down. If you have to remind your children that you exist, then in their lives, you no longer do. Love doesn't need reminders. Love doesn't need scheduling. And if you have to beg for it, what you receive isn't love. It's a pity. And I don't need pity. A man who once carried his entire family through storms will never bow his head to beg for kindness from the very children he once fed spoon by spoon when they couldn't even feed themselves. You might be wondering, how did it come to this? I asked myself the same thing, and then I realized the problem isn't just them, it's me too. When they were young, I was their shelter. I was the roof over their heads, the one who kept the rain and wind out. Whenever storms came, they ran home, and I was there. But then they grew up, 40, 50. They're no longer children running from the rain. They've become the storm. Their lives, their work, their families, all storms of their own. And here I am, an 82-year-old man, standing with an old umbrella, shouting at the sky. Stop the rain. Sounds foolish, doesn't it? The more I call, the more I complain. The more I ask, why don't you come home? The more I turn this house into a prison of guilt, a place that, when they think of it, doesn't feel warm. It feels heavy. No one wants to return to a place that makes them feel like a bad child. And my clinging, my fear of being abandoned. That's the very thing pushing them further away. Some nights I lie there staring at the ceiling. I can't sleep. I just listen to my heartbeat slowing down, wondering, what did I do wrong? Did I work too much? Was I too strict? Did I miss their games, their school performances, because I had to work overtime? Maybe I did. No parent is perfect. I made mistakes, plenty of them. But there's one thing I know for sure. I didn't walk away. I didn't abandon my family. I stayed. I worked. I kept the lights on. I made sure there was always food on the table. If now, as grown adults with lives of their own, they still want to punish me for mistakes I made 30 years ago, then that's their burden, not mine. Listen to me. It's time to forgive yourself. Our contract is over. We've done our part, and we don't owe anyone anything anymore. My grandfather once told me something I used to think was nonsense. He said, if you run around with a net chasing a butterfly, you'll never catch it. But if you bend down and grow a beautiful garden, the butterfly will come to you. And even if it doesn't, you'll still have a garden. Back then, I laughed. I thought, who has time for gardening? People like me just work and work. But now, sitting in this quiet house, I finally understand. I spent my whole life chasing butterflies, chasing approval, chasing the idea of being a good enough father, chasing phone calls that never came. And then I stopped, not because I was tired, but because I realized I'd been holding an invisible net, and every time I swung it, the butterfly only flew farther away. So I put the net down, and I started building my garden, not a flower garden. I don't have time for that kind of romance. My garden is made of simple things, but it's mine. I threw my self-pity straight into the trash. No hesitation, no looking back. I signed up for a woodworking class at 82. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? The young guys looked at me like I was some relic from another time. But the moment I picked up a piece of wood again, when the smell of sawdust filled the air, I remembered who I was. I'm not some forgotten old man. I'm a man who spent his life working with these hands. I made a chair, ugly as hell, but solid, just like me. Then I started going to the park, playing chess with a bunch of other old men, stubborn, hard-headed fools, all of us. We argue over every move, curse like there's no tomorrow, and then we laugh. It had been a long time since I'd heard my own laughter. I went home, opened an old notebook, a recipe for gumbo, the dish my kids used to fight over. I stood in the kitchen and cooked it again, step by step, not for praise, not to make anyone come back, but because I wanted a proper meal. Do you see? I'm not sitting by the window waiting to die anymore. I'm filling the hole in my chest with these calloused hands. I'm not a victim. I'm a man who is living. And then something strange happened. The silence started to feel different. The phone still didn't ring, but it didn't feel heavy anymore. It was just a phone. People are strange. When you keep calling, texting, pulling, they pull away. But when you disappear from the role they're used to, they get curious. What's he doing? Why hasn't he called? Is something wrong? I don't know exactly when it happened, but one day the phone rang. I looked at it. No rush, no trembling. I picked it up, and on the other end, there was no pity. There was hesitation. They didn't know how to talk to a father who was no longer waiting for them. And when they asked what I'd been doing, I told them the truth. I was building a table. I had just won a game of chess. I had just cooked a pot of gumbo better than ever before. I wasn't telling them to impress. I was telling them because that's my life. And for the first time in a long while, I heard something in their voice I hadn't heard in years. Respect. You see, no one wants to return to a dark house, but everyone is curious about a garden in bloom. And when you build your own garden, people will want to step inside. But listen to me. Don't get it twisted. The butterflies don't always come. Some gardens are beautiful, and no butterfly ever visits. Some children, no matter how good a father you were, still choose to turn away. That's the truth. Harsh, but true. And if that's your situation, let them go. Don't chase. Don't shout. Don't destroy the final years of your life trying to hold on to something that no longer belongs to you. Love them from a distance, not with suffering, but with peace. A man's worth isn't measured by how many people visit him on a Sunday. It's measured by this. When he looks in the mirror, who does he see? A man who was abandoned or a man who truly lived? My phone hasn't rung in 3 months. Maybe it'll stay silent tonight. That's fine. Tonight, I'll enjoy a good bowl of gumbo. Tomorrow, I'll finish the wooden table I've been working on. My door is still open. If they want to come back, I'll be there. But I won't stand in the doorway waiting anymore. Neither should you. Stand up, put the phone down, and go build your own garden.